as potentially the longest developed project in Sony's China Hero program. It's been almost 10 years since the announcement of Lost Soul Aside. The day is finally approaching when it will meet its players. Recently, a 9VG was invited to attend an offline preview event for Lost Soul Aside in Suzhou. Got to see the full scope of the game. After roughly experiencing everything from the prologue to Chapter 1 of the official release, I'm quite optimistic about Lost Soul Aside's performance after its official release. This depends on the game's excellence in its combat system with both high skill ceilings and floors. It also depends on how appealing the game looks overall, like gameplay mechanics, core systems, and art style. While you can see influences from many great games, you also recognize the team's potential in exploring fantasy themes, a clear departure from traditional wuxia and folkloric subjects. At this stage, the game still has some rough edges that need polishing. The good news is, there's still some time before the game's official launch. We believe by launch day, players will experience a more polished and complete version of the game. As I mentioned at the beginning, Lost Soul Aside features a highly polished, fluid combat system with deep mechanical potential. Traditional action games have been declining in recent years. Complex input combos are gradually being replaced by ARPG-style skill systems that prioritize timing over execution. Lost Soul Aside's combat system can be summarized as follows. It leans closer to traditional action games, but replaces complex move lists with a skill-based system, varying your attacks through held taps, quick presses, and light-heavy inputs to alter techniques. This is a system with both a high skill ceiling and a low skill floor. If you're not great at action games, just manage your stamina bar wisely. Focus on dodging, blocking, then counterattack with basic combos and special moves. This should handle most enemies comfortably. For technically proficient players, the system offers rewarding complexity to explore. Precise blocks and dodges deliver highly satisfying defensive gameplay. Additionally, the combat features a chase attack system. Press R2 when your character flashes during a basic combo to land an extra high damage follow-up hit. Not only does this enhance combo fluidity, but it also significantly boosts damage output, potentially becoming the key differentiator between casual and pro players. Despite streamlined controls, light-heavy attacks plus skills, Lost Soul Aside offers combat freedom rivaling traditional action games with strict positioning distance checks, letting players creatively chain abilities through precise timing.
This section explains what combos you can perform. These are all poorly defined technical terms. You have no idea how painful it is to translate these clueless game journalist takes.
In combat execution, Lost Soul Aside delivers exactly as promised. Hyper-fast pacing and extravagant visual flair remain its defining traits. High-speed combat is achieved via seamless skill transitions. The visual spectacle comes from skill effects loaded with high-intensity particle systems.
This section just highlights how good the game's skill effects are. Apparently, these game journalists think I'm blind.
During interviews, the development team repeatedly emphasized that completion times for the same boss fight vary dramatically between different challengers, with gaps spanning several minutes. This strongly demonstrates the combat system's depth and successful design. The game doesn't have difficulty options, but after repeated deaths, it provides special, powerful buffs or equipment similar to Metal Gear Solid V's system. It makes the game more forgiving.
The following section just explains that the game is linear, not open world, with some minigames included. The game features 4 weapon types and a potion crafting system. The journalist mentioned the game will have performance and graphics modes, but failed to clarify whether these options are for PC, consoles, or both. I think if I keep translating, this game is gonna get delayed again. Based on the actual gameplay I've seen, I don't think the game is as contradictory as this journalist claims. Whether the combat system is complex or simple, any system that delivers player satisfaction is a good system, as long as it's not button mashing, has no weird hitboxes, and offers solid replay value, it's good enough. From previous producer interviews and live demo commentaries, I sensed the developers' fear of players calling the game too difficult. Sometimes, what feels like difficulty in action or hack-and-slash games is actually a poorly designed combat system. For example, players lack defensive options, enemy attacks have no telegraphing, hit reactions are absent, and the combat suffers from messy frame data and janky hitboxes. An action game without these issues is already competent. What truly worries me is seeing the developers so terrified of players calling the game too difficult. Will this excessive caution make the game mediocre? What if the game looks amazing but plays boring? Who would choose to play this if it's an action game? Who are these people? Are they playing one-handed or something? How would they actually review this game? How will their reviews actually impact the game's sales? Why do action games have stamina? Does stamina exist just to limit players and increase difficulty? No more delays. Show me your motivation. If you think the previous game journalist's explanation was too chaotic, It's not a translation issue. They just talk in a jumble themselves. I even have to reorganize their language for them. But I'm not responsible for fixing the logical issues. I'm not interested in game journalists or hype videos. I'll jump into the game right away to check it out for myself as soon as it's released. I'm sure we'll meet again once the game is released. See you later.